Hello everyone, welcome back to Tuan channel. Today I have another special guest who's run for Florida House Representative in District 45. And his name is Mike and he will introduce himself in a second here. So Mike, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. First, thank you for having me. My name is Mike Zhao. I'm Republican candidate running for State House District 45. I grew up in communist China during Cultural Revolution. My father endured a very inhuman political persecution, which led to extreme poverty and devastating personal loss. About 30 years ago, I escaped to America with less than $200 in my pocket. But it is America, the greatest nation on earth, which provides a wonderful opportunity for me to achieve my American dream. I later became the director of global planning at Siemens Energy. While realizing my American dream, I started fighting to defend the American dream. Since 2014, I have been leading Asian Americans nationwide, fighting against liberal education policy, race-based college admission, basically use skin color to discriminate Asian and white. Recently, I also initiated my fight against socialism, cancel culture, critical race theory. I have published many articles at the National Review, Washington Examiner, Daily Caller, also Orlando Sentinel, fighting against the liberal, philosophies, their agenda also promote, Asian family values. That's pretty much my story, but I'm running for the state house to support our great government to keep Florida free, to protect our political, economic rights and public safety. Also try to bring equal rights to all Floridians to help you defend your American dream.
Well, okay, Mike. You are come from the communist country like I do. So we both come from a communist country, and we both neighbor as well. So you from China and I'm from Vietnam, and then you have family here, Mike?
Yes, basically my wife and two children. Basically, my two children were born in Orlando. I have been living in Orlando since 1996. And absolutely, I want to tell you, I share the same kind of emotion, and I've been touched by many stories. Vietnamese like you
Mm-hmm.
escape communist Vietnam. My story is very similar. So, I think we are like really have the same kind of experience, same kind of view. We're fighting against really the radical left.
Yeah, this is a time for us to stand up to do something for our country here because we both understand the communists so well. I mean, other people, other American, I mean, people and a lot of young people and American people, they don't understand how bad the communist is, and they don't care about human rights. They don't care anything, So they just want power. So, can you share me some experience that you have with the communism and China and CCP and things like that?
Yes, it's very touching, because my grandparents were landlord, right? And also because Cultural Revolution, my father got political persecution. He was publicly humiliated and tortured, lost freedom for 5 years. Because of that,
Wow, wow,
yeah,
wow. See,
because of that, and my grandparents and I were forced to relocate from Kunming, the capital city of Yunnan province, which has a relatively better living standard, to a very poor mountain village, a couple hundred miles away in the mountains. And my grandma, a few months later got a heart attack, but because there was no nearby clinic, and then she was carried by stretch to the a small town, the county government. But just a few months later, she passed away. When I was 6 years old,
wow.
I already started taking care of my grandparents, grandma, Also because somebody believes communism is good for poor. Actually, no. When I was in Chinese Cultural Revolution, right? Because communists take away the rights for private ownership, take away the performance-based incentive, right? They want everybody to do the same, so-called equality. So not equality, equity. So they achieve the equity. You guess what? Nobody was motivated to produce. Everything was in shortage. When I was a teenager, okay, clothing, like rice, like food, like meat, everything was rationed. Each urban citizen like me, we only get typically 2 pounds of meat for whole months. And then sometimes it's only 1 pound meat for like whole months. Everybody starved to death. That kind of experience, like suffering I experience. Also, in order to buy some good meat, I had to, wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning and waiting in the line, in the queue for many hours before we can buy something, even with coupon, with rationing coupon. So that kind of experience I experienced, I suffered. So that's the reason I'm running. I don't want my children and also your children, every younger generation of Americans suffer what I do.
See, that's why we value American more than a lot of people because we've been to a suffer, we've been under communist control, and that's why the Democrat has doing similar to the communism because they want to take away the power from the people. They want more power. They take away freedom from people. They try to give us and fit us and tell us what to do, like um so I heard that I kind of like heard that you run something for the office before.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I ran for U.S. Congress, 7th district, but the first run, like some lesson learned was not successful. But coming back to your topic, early topic, you are exactly right because like what you and I experience are so different from like many younger generation here because if they believe in any policy, if that is a good objective, okay, helping the poor, helping the minority will be good policy. Like communism, they have very honorable cause try to help the poor. End of the day, they destroy not only the poor, but also the rich. Everybody get equally poor, right? So that's something, I think both you and I can bring this kind of experience, real life experience, to let our voter, let our citizen know, especially younger generation, freedom is not free. And also, in every policy, we need to look at the purpose results, not only the purpose.
Yes, you see, that's why you're exactly right. The freedom is not free because you have to take your family take a risk of life, your family life to get your freedom today. So that's why you have to pay the price. You have to your family have to pay for the price, and that's why I can feel that because it's the same thing to a lot of Vietnamese people who left the Vietnam to come
Yep.
here because a lot of people die in the sea.
Yep.
I don't know how many people from China and some from other country when they leave their country to come for freedom and opportunity, but I believe there's almost close to a million people, a population of Vietnam. They leave Vietnam by boat and they die in the ocean and nobody know or heard of. At least it's couple 100,000, 500,000 is easy for the Vietnamese people to die in from 1975 all the way up to 99. To the 90. So people they cannot survive because of the poor and they cannot live under communist control and they don't have freedom and opportunity. So that's why I really want you to send a message to the people in the area. Especially like your areas, there's a lot of young people and people they don't understand the how bad, how dangerous the communist is influence, how bad the communist is, and that's why we both are very conservative, and that's why we run for Republican, because we know the values of freedom and opportunity, and whatever everything the Democrat doing is nothing different than socialism and communism, because the Democrat try to introduce the socialism. They say it's different, but for us, we know it's the same thing. The socialism is a door to get into the communism. It's nothing different. It's just a different name, but they don't care about the people. They just want power, and they want to control, and they want to treat the people like puppet. So now um, you have, I mean, what is your background, your business background here? Are you a business or you do some kind of work? And
Yes, as I mentioned early on, I'm blessed by the great American political social system. I arrived in America 1996, and then after that I received my MBA, worked very hard, and it was employed by Siemens Energy. I worked all the way to become the director of global of Siemens Energy, which has multiple billions that kind multiple billion euros. Okay, it's not just American dollar, it's even bigger. That kind of operation. So I have over 20 years strategic planning, also some strategic management projects. So I'm truly a problem solver. And also, I'm a line spirit. I want to tell you, when I have been leading Asian American fight against affirmative action, just like last month, we are able to unite over 360 Asian American organizations nationwide, right? So that is another unique quality I can bring, because to solve the problems, we no longer need a divisive politician. We want somebody can build alliance. So that's another area. So yes, thank you for your question. It's a good question.
yeah, so if anyone who watch a channel right now, please support my Zhao, because he's working hard for our country, and he tried to run for U.S. Congress before too, and like I mean that's what I'm doing right now too. But because he don't give up, because he want to do something for our country, he want to pay back, and he wanted to help America to be stronger, because his next generation, his son, his family, his daughter, his family in the future, and and that's why if you are living in Orlando or anywhere in the U.S., you can go to his website and do some donation, or if you live in the area, please help him for volunteer, because every candidate need voter money and volunteer. So to run a campaign, to run for the office is not easy, and especially when we try to do something for our country and we put a lot of effort and energy. We have to run cross town. We have to run to different county to get exposed, to let people know what our message is. So if you want to stop the communism, to make the better economic, please support my Zhao, because he is working hard for the people. So can you tell everybody your website?
Sure, my website is MikeZhao for Florida.com. And by the way, the district I'm running include Winter Garden, Windermere, and celebration in Orlando area. If you live in my district, please vote for me. If you're outside of my district, you still can donate or volunteer for me. Thank you very much.
So, like what I had I went to the event yesterday, the woman, Winter Park woman Republican yesterday, and I make a speech, and I was saying, Winter Park and Windermere is my dream area when I was young, because that's where I want to live, because it's beautiful, it's safe. But put it this way, if communist is ruining our country, that nice place is not longer nice. That safe place is not longer safe. Pine Hill, that's where I grew up. They've been known as a crime hill. So we don't want the bad place turn to be worse and a good place turn to be bad. So we have to fight together to protect this country, to protect our neighbor, to protect our neighborhood, our area, to have keep continue to grow, because we don't want its damage and influenced by the communism. And seeing that we both come from a communist country, we want to serve, we want to bring our own experience and from what we witness to the people here in America, because what you hear is not the same of what you see, because we see that on our own eyes. We see how the communists is create a problem for us. You don't see that. So like what we know the American culture, and but American don't know the communist culture, or China or Vietnam culture. But on top of that, we understand what we have to do, what we have to face with. So China or Vietnam or South Korea, I'm sorry, North Korea or Cuba, is all communism. And you look at how bad they ruin the people. They want to control. China doesn't care about human right. Vietnam people doesn't care about human right. North Korea, they don't care. And Cuba, they don't care. Venezuela, the same thing. So if you think communism, socialism is good, go there and check it out. You live there yourself for a few years, and you will understand what the problem we have to deal with. So don't let it happen here in America. So Mike is the person that I just met recently, but I know he wanna fight for this country as well at myself. So Mike, from can you tell us more, a little bit more of your family back then, in your dad and all stuff like that, back home, the challenge and stuff like that, when they have to face and deal with different stuff.
Sure, sure. I just want to share with you a few things, right? People claim socialism bring good healthcare, okay? But that time, China was so poor, no any modern medicine, right? Like my grandma heart attack in a few months passed away. Talk about housing, right? Socialism say promise good housing, but like my family of five, we only live in like 180 square feet, okay? That kind of housing, no tap water, no bathroom, right? That kind of extreme poverty. So, that's not something like you will enjoy. Another thing I want to share here is, like Tuan, like made it very clear what we can see is different. Why? Example, in China, the Communist Party used class struggle theory to divide and conquer Chinese people. Similarly, the radical left using critical race theory to divide and conquer American people, label American people as oppressed, right? Another thing they're doing, they set up called disinformation board. They're doing censorship. You know what? In 1950, late 1950, Chairman Mao, Chinese dictator, he imposed censorship. He launched called the anti-rightist movement, basically silence all the political opposition. After that, become one-party dictatorship, right? So after that, he had a very bad policy called the Great Leap Forward. And they basically did a lot of things ridiculous in the countryside, exaggerated the productions, convert a lot of production land to produce very bad steel or iron, and they starved over 30 million people to death, okay? And so it also the changing history. Here we have the America, some radical left introduced 1619 project, right, to change American history. Over in China, the communists also changes our history. Historically, we respect Confucius, but they totally attack, destroyed even the tomb of Confucius, try to introduce the communist ideology. Confucius emphasized the love between the people, but communists, but the radical left is
Yeah.
doing the
See.
divisive, right?
Yeah.
So that's examples I want to warn our fellow Americans. When like this kind of communist socialist ideology is coming in America, we need to fight earlier. We
See.
don't want to be overtaken by them.
See, I always most of the place that I went through, I keep mention about Confucius institution because American don't understand. It's try to influence American education by using the Confucius institution. It's very it's Americans should have or should understand what exactly is the Confucius institution is, and because we know what's going on,
Yep.
we know exactly what happened, and CCP or Viet Cong, they are trying to get in power to control people, then they care for the people, and that's why that's one thing that's a lot of young people now, they don't understand, they don't get it, why we fight so hard. A lot of Vietnamese people is fighting hard for the freedom, right? I mean, right now in America too, and a lot of the Taiwanese people, and as well as the Chinese people who left the China for the freedom and opportunity, they always want to fight for the human right. They want to fight for what they had go through. That's very important. Now, everybody, when you watch this channel, and my Zhao is need your support. He need to win the District 45 because he bring his own experience. He's been poor, but look at him right now. He's a professional. He success on everything he had done. He worked for a big company. He had an education. You get an MBA. What school you get an MBA?
I got from an international MBA from University of South Carolina. And
Oh,
I
okay.
was ranked top on the nation.
Well, okay.
I also graduated as number one international student. Graduated
Wow.
from that
See,
course.
he's not only work hard, but he also study hard too. I mean, it's really hard for a person who come from another country to learn English and then start to go to school and education, because I went through the same what Mike went through. I mean, it's hard for me to learn a second English as second language, and then I have to get my bachelor, and then went to get an MBA at Australia University. So you working at the same time at going to school is not easy, because first we have to learn the language, and then we have to learn the thesis, the statement, and able to answer all the question and read the book to understand. Sometimes we have to read three, four, five, six times to understand
Yep.
the meaning of it.
Yep.
It's not easy. Like a lot of people, they just read it, they get it right away. For us, sometimes we have to use dictionary to convert the definition to understand exactly what it meant. And it's very hard because nowadays Google can do all the job. But back to the day, you cannot use Google. You have to use dictionary. Like, you have to look it up word by word. I've been there and done that, and Mike been there and done that. So with all that challenge, we still have an energy and go out there to fight for this country, for America, because we know the value of freedom and opportunity. And Mai is not only come from China, but when he come here and grow up here, he's born in we both born in a communism country, but we're gonna die in this country. We don't born here, but we will die here. That's why it's very, very important for us to stand up to do something for our country, and especially that we are come from a communist country, that American get into this situation right now, with the Democrat try to influence with young people with socialism. Now, I have very question for you, Ismail. Like, can you tell us more about CCP? What you understand, what you know about anything about CCP, because I cannot speak for CCP because I don't know much like you know. I can talk about Vietcong, but I cannot talk about CCP. Can you go ahead tell everybody?
Sure. I know CCP is really a group of people really follow the Karl Marx ideology, right? Some kind of utopian ideology. They believe they can use some kind of planned economy and then to bring the equity to everybody. But they provided a totally wrong solution. Also, they fake up a lot of stories, exaggerate, say China had like a class struggle, the landlord exploit the poor parents. They use a lot of like fake story to really to justify the revolution. Also, they use tools very brutal during the communist revolution. Between 2 and 4 million landlords were killed, okay, brutally killed. Their like land, personal property, all being confiscated to distribute to other people. And also another feature CCP has is they don't really want to bring the real benefits to the people. They say they want, but they are driven by ideology, okay? So they, for example, they take away personal property ownership. They like impose a planned economy, take away the free market system. People like the peasants, they are not allowed to raise pig or, like have chicken, to be marketing the like free market. So because of that, China had a huge shortage, right? So also they use censorship, use the concentration camp, a lot of tools to control what people are thinking, right? So they are doing things just for their power, right? Although some members they may naively believe they are doing good for society, but actually what they have done is disastrous to Chinese people, to the world. One thing I want to clarify, okay? People may ask, say, why China already become second largest economy? It's not CCP. Last July, I wrote one article in National Review saying, what China achieved today actually is China adopted Western American free market system, adopted capitalist. A lot of things from America. So that's the reason we release Chinese people's energy. It is Chinese people work hard, create this kind of economic growth, not the Karl Marx or communist philosophy, their ideology. That's something I want to emphasize. And one thing I want to say is, Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping stopped the communist class struggle in 1978. But unfortunately today, radical left here launched critical race theory, similar divisive stuff. So I think, from this regard, they are not really they are not really as even worse. I want to tell you, okay. So that's something I'm fighting against this kind of radical left ideology.
See, that is a good story to tell everybody to make sure that people understand what's going on, what the CCP is. So, can you tell me a little bit your specialist at when you say you work for what a company that you work for?
Siemens.
Siemens. Can you tell a little bit of your professional side of it and how you have American if you've been select for the office?
Sure. I joined Siemens Energy in 1996. I pretty much my job was doing strategic management project and handle to solve the business issues. Example, we have long-term program, issues or profit of losing tens of millions, and our company CEO assigned me to really lead. When I was only a professional, led a management team. We addressed that issue. Also I was developing market entry strategies for like different countries, sales strategies for South America, for like Europe, for basically Asia, also Americas. Americas, we have like 3 major sales regions. I was a guy developing strategy, also developed product strategy. I also led a joint venture negotiation with China. I tell you, I'm very proud because I successfully prevent the Chinese partner try to steal our core technology.
See, that's is something that we both know that
Yes.
CCP try to steal everything that they can, and that's good that you prevent that, and stop that. So can you? I'm sorry. Can you go ahead and continue?
Sure, sure. And basically, I'm problem solver. When I look at things, I'm not just like regular politicians, like Bernie Sanders. Okay, I give you taxpayers' money, give you like free, like free this, free tuition, free Medicare. Or no, that's not the wrong way to do that. To solve the problem, you need to understand what are the circumstance. You do analytic identify the root cause. For example, tuition increase, right? It's pretty much driven by the non-teaching cost increase in college. We need to control that, right? Also here, many Central Floridians are faced with energy crisis, gas price, right? And I have over 20 years working in the energy industry. We need support our fossil energy. I think I can help to address the rising gas price issue. Also, I have been doing real estate investment for over 10 years. I also have solution to help really address housing crisis. I want to give you some specific example. It's good we have so many people moving to Florida, but it drives land price, right? That's a big driver. So what we should do is to allow some urban center to build high-rise apartment. In this case, that the land cost can be spread. We can build the affordable housing in this way, right? So there's many solutions I can offer. And, I'm always a guy to look at, analyze this problem, identify the root cause, and develop solution address that.
Wow. So that's awesome. Now we I'd like to have another interview with you for other topic as well because we both can talk all day long.
Sure.
Now before we wrap this up, I want you to tell your voter, everybody in your area, um, what you need from your voter, or what can you do for them, thing like that. You pick and choose. I mean, unless
Sure,
yeah.
sure. The first I want to communicate to you is I love this country. I'm a true patriot because I select America as my home. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I want to tell you there are many, like a few other Republican candidates are also quite good, better than Democrats. But I'm the one that with proven experience. I have corporate American experience, proven problem solver. I have a national profile, leading Asian American nationwide, also write in many conservative, media, fighting against socialism, critical race theory, cancel culture. So I'm the most qualified candidate in your district. So please help me spread the message. Tell your friends if you live in my district and help me and vote for me. Also, if you want, you can also, if you have money, you can donate to support my campaign. But most important, tell Mike Zhao story. I'm a living example of American dream. I will help you to achieve the American dream.
You see, there's one thing that's when it's a common sense. When people hungry, they will fight harder to get a food, and they know the challenge they have to deal when they're hungry. It's similar to we both lost a country.
Yep.
We left a communist, so we understand the values of opportunity and freedom. That's why we fight so hard for this. I mean, every candidate out there is great. Everybody is good, stand up to do something for our country. But why we are stand out the most? Because we understand the values of it. We know what we've been through. And that's why when you fight, if people never lost in a fight, they don't fight at heart that they lost it. People don't not craving for food or trying to fight the way to get food if they are never been in hungry. We are hungry for freedom and opportunity. That's why when it's come to us, we fight really hard. We do everything we can, and then we try the best to fight not just only for us, but for our country here and our family in the future. Because like what I say, both of us, we didn't born here. We don't have to run for this office. We don't have to fight, but because we stand up to doing something, because we want our next generation to be stronger and better and not get into the problem that we have to leave the communism country to come here for freedom and opportunity. Now, if you live in an area, it does matter wherever you live. If you live in an area that might run in District 45, please support him, volunteer, donate, and vote for him. If you live on District 10 for U.S. Congressional, from all the way from Old Winter Garden, Ocoee, up to UCF, Bitlow area, vote for me. We both will fight for this country. We both will understand what we have to do to keep this country moving forward in a good direction, not the wrong direction like the Democrat did. Now, we believe in Republican conservative because we know the values of it. That's why it's harder for us to fight, but we won't give up. Like he didn't give up. He tried for U.S. Congress. Now he tried for the state House representative. He want to do something for our country. Give him an opportunity. Give me an opportunity. Give you an opportunity to see how we do this together for this country. Thank you very much for watching my channel, and we will come back with another videos. And please tell everybody your website and the last message you want to send to them before we get off.
Thank you for having me. My website is MikeZhao4Florida.com. And please vote for me. I'm the best qualified candidate in